What's going on, guys? I'm Hannah.
And I'm Alec from Script Studios, and welcome back to another story time. This time is going to be a little bit different again, because last time we did kind of like a mesh of documentary and medieval, which really didn't make a whole lot of sense.
No.
But you know, that's fine. We'll try it again later, where we mush two of them together into a splat kind of thing. And hopefully it'll work a little bit more smoothly. But this time, we're actually just going to be choosing a genre, and then we're going to choose 2 items to be able to add into that genre. So if it doesn't work, that'll kind of suck, and we'll have to make it work. But if it does, fantastic.
Woo!
But let's go ahead and pull some stuff. So let's go ahead and get that genre.
Our magical cup of papers.
Our paper cups. Paper Keppel cups.
Okay, what do we have here? Thriller.
Ooh, we got a thriller.
Oh, we got a thriller.
Now we gotta get the big ones are items, right?
Big ones are items.
Okay, so thriller with a light stand. What kind of light stand are we talking about?
A light stand. I think originally when I wrote that down, I was talking about like our light stands, but that could be like a lamp or like a light outside, like a street lamp kind of a thing, or
okay,
something to hold up a light. And then this last item, should I announce it now?
Yep.
A white blanket.
A white blanket.
A white blanket.
15. Well, we'll go 20 seconds. 15 seconds isn't a long time at all.
Not enough.
We're gonna give us just a little bit longer. Okay, 20 seconds. We got a thriller, so we could have a serial killer.
We could have a serial killer. They could leave like a white blanket on all of their victims or something, or maybe the person uses it to like protect themselves. Or
that could work. That's actually a pretty good premise right there, which we can make happen.
And maybe there's something about like
knife
having
killer.
to stay in the lamp.
Done. Okay.
I mean,
that's all we got.
Okay. Knife killer, blanket, light.
All right, and you're gonna start this time.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Rebecca was a normal college student. Going about her day, living in her dorm, nothing really that exciting. She's walking from class to class. Jess, one of her acquaintances from her history class, because yes, she's a history major, walks up to her and says, "You know, Tyson's been missing for a while." Tyson, Jessica's brother. So I guess Rebecca, even though she doesn't want to admit it, is closer to Jess than she likes to say. Tyson, well, maybe he's just off on one of his random adventures. You know, he takes the car and leaves all the time. But Jess shakes her head. No, he's been gone for much longer than he usually goes. 4 days is too long. 4 days, Rebecca says? That's... You're right, that isn't like Tyson at all. Well, have you tried calling him? Jess nods, yes, I've tried everything. I've tried calling him, I've tried calling other people, his friends, everybody. And the police have been looking for him for 2 days now. That's really interesting. Rebecca, not really knowing what to do with that information, she can't really do much. They move on, go through the rest of their classes, and head back to their dorm. And Rebecca, it's just Rebecca and Jess in that dorm. One of their other roommates moved out, went to a different college, all that kind of stuff, you know. And Jess says, "I'm going out, see you later." It's about 7 o'clock at this time. Rebecca says, "All right." Just sits there on the couch and reads her book. Rebecca doesn't feel like she leads a very exciting life. But then an hour or two pass by, and she's just there reading her book, almost done with it, and she hears scratching at her door. There's no pets allowed in this building, so what's scratching?
She was a little more confused, but as all people in thrillers do, she got up and she went to go investigate the noise. She walked around to the door, and she creaked it open. Nice and slow, just to kind of peek out. She didn't see anything. So she opened it farther and she stuck her head out. She looked down the hall one way, nothing. She looked down the hall the other way, nothing. Must have been the wind or something. I don't know. I can get a little drafty in these apartments. So she closed it and she went back to her back to her couch and read her book again. Then suddenly she started to hear some tapping on a window. Just a slight tap. But it didn't sound like a tree. It didn't sound like a bird. It sounded pretty unusual, like a nail on a finger. What the heck? So she started to go walk over and look at it. And as she pulled up her blinds, she noticed a hand that quickly darted out of the way. She rolled back in fear. She's like, what the heck? I'm on the second story. Who the what? And as all females are in thrillers, she decides to open up the window and peek out. She looks down. She didn't see anything. She didn't see a ladder. She didn't see some dude trying to scramble. She didn't notice anything at all. And she's really starting to get freaked out. There was a weird scratching at the door. Now there was a tapping and a hand out her window. Like, what the heck is happening?
And she says, no, I'm not doing this. She closes her window, pulls the drapes over it, walks back, and then she turns around and she's like, oh, Jess, I didn't even hear you come home. Wow, that's so... And then she stops. Jess was there, staring at her. But she was covered in blood. And she wasn't breathing. Just crumbled to the ground at Rebecca's feet. Rebecca steps back. What? Trying to process what's happening, but can't let out a scream because she's so scared. And then she sees that Jess is wrapped up in a little white blanket. And as Rebecca goes, she goes to lift up the blanket off of her friend. And then quickly puts it back. There was no flesh. No jacket that Jess left with. Nothing covering her muscles and tissues and bones. Rebecca scrambling out. She grabs her phone, grabs her bag, and runs out the door. She dials 911 and calls the police. Yes? Hello? There's been a murder at my house. She's dead. She's dead. The woman on the phone is trying to calm her down. Please, ma'am. Please, ma'am. Slow down. Are you safe? Are you okay? Where do you live? And as Rebecca's trying to scramble out all this information, she hears a creaking of a door, which usually she wouldn't care about. Other people live in these apartments. But as she turns around,
the door slams closed, and she sees someone standing there. It's a guy. He's big, and he has something over his head. You can't tell who he is. He's covered pretty much head to toe, but he's big. And she's this little girl. She's like 5'3". And she starts to sink. Her stomach starts to drop. Her eyes start to water. And she's just frozen in fright. And this man, he just got a little knife in his hand. Compared to him, the knife is tiny. However, upon closer inspection, she notices that this is a whole butcher knife. This thing's supposed to be massive. It would be massive for her. But for him, it was tiny. And this guy starts to slowly approach her. And she's like, oh, crap. She starts to take off the other direction. And she goes right back to her dorm room. And she slams the door. And she locks it. And she tries to barricade it a little bit. And then she runs over to her bathroom. And she tries to get in there, and she closes the door, and she locks it. And then she looks around. She pats her pockets. She looks on the floor. She looks everywhere, and she's like, crap, I must have dropped my phone. Frick. She starts to panic. She starts to have an anxiety attack. And then she hears her door her front door to her dorm room as it slams open and off of its hinges. And in comes this giant man, creaking the floorboards as he walks.
She stifles a scream, covering her mouth to make sure he doesn't know that she's trapped in her bathroom. She looks around and sees, oh, the window. It's her only chance to get out, so she starts to open it. She starts to climb out, not really giving anything else a second thought. She looks down and she sees her neighbor's balcony, or at least the person who lives underneath her. And she drops. Ow! Tries to stifle her pain again. Looks up at the window and she sees the man staring down at her. And so she climbs down her friend's little balcony porch and starts running down the street, booking it. Not really knowing where she's going, thinking she's going to the police station, but her mind is so blurred that she's not thinking straight. She doesn't know which way to turn. She doesn't know which way to run. And as she looks, she sees a park. Okay, that's something that's jogging her memory. She runs towards that park. And she turns around and she sees that man, that ginormous man running towards her. It's hard to tell, though, as it's now getting late and getting darker. And the stars are starting to pop out. The only light she has is the moonlight and one lamp, one street light in the park. She runs and she runs. Her feet are so sore. She's been running on rocks and whatever thorns that are in the bushes or in the grass. And she runs and she gets to that street lamp and she holds on to it and she looks around and she can't see him. Is he gone? Did she outrun him? She lets go of the street lamp just a little bit. And then screams. Then on the news that morning was a girl wrapped in a white blanket hanging from a street lamp. The end!
I don't know if a street lamp counts as a light stand, but I couldn't fit in a light stand anywhere where she stuck me. Hooray!
Sorry, it's just where it went, so it's fine. We got a light in there, so it's fine.
Oh, we got the white blanket for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The light stand, not so much, but I feel like that was a thriller. I don't know if it was more of a thriller or a horror.
Yeah, I don't know either. I feel like our very first story time was more of a thriller, but...
I think so, because it had more of the suspense. This one is more of, hey, there's the actual killer.
Yep, but hey.
I brought that one out. Hooray!
Woo! Hopefully that was enjoyable, and...
Yeah, we went over those, so she's now penalized.
I'm sorry, I went over by like 3 seconds.
Nah, it was like 10.
No, it wasn't 10 seconds. No, the timer went off, and it was like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It was not 10 seconds.
Still went over.
Not that long.
Penalized. We're going to have to do a thing where she has to eat something gross now, and we're going to film that and put it on here for you. You're welcome.
We never talked about this.
It is now. It's now going to happen.
It's now a rule. Oh, I gotta be better.
She's also gone over her 2-minute limit quite often.
I'm sorry. I lose track of time, and then I get lost in the story. And I'm like, oh shoot, and then I have to stop.
Yep.
So maybe I should be holding.
We'll start invoking a rule like that. We won't do it for this one because she didn't know, but now we're going to have more of it where we have to.
Okay, sounds good. We have to
stick within our time limits.
Sounds good to me.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Please go ahead and like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff, wherever it's going to be. It might be over here, it might be over there, it might be up there. I don't know. It's all over the screen. That's where it's going to be. It's going to be right here, right in front of us. You're not even going to be able to see us.
Right there.
With how much stuff I just threw on the screen just for you. You're welcome.
And be sure to check out our little t-shirt merch shop and check out our other channels, Scribbles and Scruff, if you haven't already seen that. If you're joining this channel first, look at what's over there and stay tuned for this one. Thank you so very much. Thank you so for much.
So for much to be the watching. Fantastic. Yay!